Hey guys, so as you guys all already know, AirPods clone are literally flooding the market. Everywhere you go, you'll be able to find them. So the purpose of this video is not to promote any type of AirPods clone or fake whatsoever. The purpose is to let everyone know and how to identify and tell if a AirPods is actually a real or a fake version. Again, this video is not to promote any clone AirPods at all whatsoever. So with all that being said, guys, in front of me I have 5 different AirPods, 2 of which are actually real legit Apple AirPods and 3 of which are actually AirPods clone or knockoff, or you can call it fake. So now, how can you immediately know if a AirPods is particularly fake or real? So I'm going to show you these 2 right here. So as you can see, take a closer look at them. And then let's take a closer look at these 2 right here. Can you distinguish which are real and which are fake? Chances are it's going to be pretty difficult for you to tell unless I point it out for you. So take a closer look at this one. So this one is indeed the real official AirPods 2. Now, if you take a really close look at the LED light indicator right here on the front of the AirPod casing there. Now, on the real official one, this is the easiest and fastest way to identify if an AirPods is fake or real. So at the LED light right here, it actually has a screen. So if you run your finger through it, you'll actually feel that there are no opening hole because again, there is a little screen right here that actually covers up the hole. So same thing goes for the AirPods Pro as well. So take a closer look at the LED lighting hole right there. Now the screen for the AirPods Pro right here is a little bit whitish. So if you run your finger through it, you'll feel no opening in the hole at all. But again, with the AirPods Pro, this is a white screen. With the AirPods 2, it's kind of like a black screen. But know that there is a screen right there where the LED light hole is. Now, let's take a closer look at the AirPods clone here. Now, these are some of the best AirPods clone right here. However, even the best one, you will be able to tell. Now, take a closer look at where this LED hole is right here. It may be a little bit hard to tell on the video here, but it is just a hole. There's no screen whatsoever. It's just a completely see-through hole. So when you run your finger through it, you can feel that there's a hole. So again, this is the easiest and fastest way to identify if a AirPods is a real or a clone, fake, or a knockoff. So same goes for this version right here. Again, this is also a super copy. That means, you know, it has literally most of the features seen in the real official AirPods. But again, take a look at it, guys. The LED light hole right here is just a hole. So you can literally see through it that it is just a hole with no type of screen whatsoever covering the hole. Now, some of the other next features I'm going to be mentioning to you guys is many of the features that, you know, a lot of clones don't have, but, you know, super clones like these right here will have most of this feature. But if you ever happen to find a clone that has the screen on the LED lighting, and from my experience, I have never yet found any AirPods clone on the market with the screen on the hole yet. So again, that's the easiest way to find out. So let's talk about some of the next things you should be able to look for when it comes to fake AirPods clone. So I have a box right here. Now, you tell me if you can tell if this is a original or if this is a clone. So can you tell if it's a clone or a real? And let me go ahead and tell you. So this is actually a box of a clone AirPods, guys. So again, clone, but has every single little details and features as if it is a actual real AirPods box. So that's another thing you need to be cautious of. So this is the real box right here, guys. See if you can identify any difference, and then I will tell you guys. So everything you see on this box, you see on the clone version. I want to do this video to help people to be able to distinguish what is real and what is fake, because a lot of people are selling these on the streets, selling the clone one as if it is actually the real one, but they're not. They're actually, you know, scamming people, letting them think it's real. So if you look at them very closely, a lot of times the picture of the earbuds on the front right here. So if you look very closely, the picture of the earbuds are not completely centered. At the same time, the color is a little bit off. It's always a little bit off. So this one is a little bit darkish gray, as you can see, but the real one, you can see it's only slightly gray. Most of it is white. But that is the main difference right there. And another difference that is very hard to tell on camera is if you take a closer look at the painting or the printing of the earbuds here, it is really, really smooth. But on the printing of the earbuds on this box, the clone version over here, you can kind of see like the grain, the little dot a little bit if you take it really close. But again, it's really, really hard to tell if you don't have the real one side by side. So another easy way to spot out if it's a fake or real is to look at the barcode at the bottom of the box here. So on the real official AirPods, as you can see right here, this piece is a single sticker piece right here with the serial number on the right hand side right here. Whereas on the clone version, they have two smaller sticker, which is one sticker is like in Chinese and the other is like in Cantonese or English or something. But the official one only have one piece of sticker right here. And what you can always do is really check up on the serial number. And if the serial number are real, sometimes, you know, it could also be fake. So that's the crazy thing about this. But anyway, the real one has one sticker and the fake one usually have two stickers. Now, even if it have one sticker, sometimes it does actually have one sticker, but the writing right here, if you pay close attention to this one over here, it has to have the exact same information as it is over here. Now, again, extremely hard to tell side by side, but you can see from the little details, not sure if you can tell, but let's take a closer look right here. So you see where the little paper where it's pushed right here? It's not as fine as the one seen on the Apple. So Apple product box, from the product to the box, everything is like almost flawlessly made. And as you can see back here, so the Apple product, you can see everything is sealed like very, very tightly with no space in between. Whereas the clone version, as you can see, the opening is kind of like seen on all four sides. So that is another thing that you should be looking for as well. And another thing about the AirPods clone box is, even though over here it has the exact same writing as the original, however, if you look really, really closely again, the printing, the type, the letters is a little bit bigger compared to the official one. And again, the printer, the ink that they use, the Apple is super, super smooth. It seems like it is, you know, together with the entire box. But for the clone, it just is not as fine printed as the official one. Again, the color grading is a little bit different. It's more of like grayish, whereas the original is whitish. So main thing when it comes to box, you just need to make sure that the printing, the ink is like super, super fine, and that the earbuds are like perfectly centered, kind of whitish, very, very light gray, not dark gray like these over here. But again, like I told you, the easiest way to spot it is actually looking at the product itself. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the weight, guys. So the official weight of the AirPods 2 is 48 grams. So when you go buy a AirPods on the street or something, make sure you bring a scale with you to weight the AirPods 2. And if it is exactly 48 grams, then chances are it may be real. It may be real. It still may be fake, guys, because a super copy are getting so good that they have the exact same weight down to it as well. But just know that the real official AirPods 2 weighs 48 grams. And the official AirPods Pro supposed to weigh 53 grams as well. Make sure 53 grams. Now, with that being said, again, most of the copies out there, the cheaper copies, do not have the exact same weight. But like the super copies here, they do have the exact same weight. But just be on the lookout for that. Next is the imprints and writing that you found on the actual AirPods themselves. So take a closer look at this one, guys. This is the real, and this is the clone here. So the imprinting I'm talking about is the imprinting that goes on the back right here. So this fake one, as you can see, they have the exact same writing that is behind the case. However, it does not mean that they're real. If you look very, very closely, the fake one, as you can see over here, the imprint on the fake one is almost always a little bit different compared to the original. It always seems to either a little bit darker or printed lower than the original one, and a lot of times even have a different letter. For example, where it says Apple on this one right here, it actually does not spell Apple. My camera cannot catch it, but what I mean is if you take a close look at all of the details of the writing, this one say designed by Apple in California, assembled in China. But where the word Apple is, it actually spells A-P-P-L-C. The last letter is supposed to be E, but on this one, it spells C. And a lot of times, if you take a closer look at the details again, some of the letter are like off print. That way, they don't have to get copyrighted or somewhat. And the next thing is the button on the back as well, guys. So the button on the back of the official AirPods. So let's say this one. Let me click it for you guys, see if you can hear anything. So when you click the button on the back of the case, it feels very solid on the real official AirPods too. So this is also another very good point to check out. So if you click the button on the fake AirPods, let's see. So you can literally hear the clicking on the fake version, whereas on the real AirPods, you do not have those clicks. Same thing for the AirPods Pro as well, guys. You can feel the button is very solid. You know that it is being pressed, whereas on the AirPods clone, you can literally hear the button clicking, the cheap quality of it. That way you can tell right away that it is actually a fake AirPods. So two ways you can easily tell if a AirPods is real or fake is by simply, again, look at the LED light right here. If it has no screen, right away it's a fake. And press the button on the back. If it makes a clicking sound, it is also fake. So two of the easiest way to identify. Next is the pop-up animation display, but of course nowadays most of these clones have the pop-up animation display. But what you want to be cautious of is the way it displays the battery life. So a lot of time they have the pop-up display, but the battery life display is not always accurate. So for the real AirPods, every single time you open the lid, your battery level will be displayed on your phone and displayed very, very accurately. Whereas on the clones, it comes with the display, but every time you open the lid, the display will show. But if you close the lid again and open it again, the battery will show like a totally different level within just a few seconds. And that is another way to identify if it is a real or a fake. Now, real in-ear proximity sensor is also something to look at. So let's say this earbuds, right? So this is a super copy. So just like the official AirPods, the real one, so this real one right here have real in-ear sensors, which is this little black dots right here. Now, the one thing that these clones tend to never have is this. So they do have real in-ear sensors, which mean the music will automatically pause when you take the earbuds out of your ear, and it will automatically continue to play when you put the earbuds back into your ear. But one thing the clones never have yet is real proximity sensor on both sides of the earbuds. So they tend to either only have real in-ear sensors on the outside of the earbuds or only on the inside of the buds, but they never have real in-ear sensor on both the outside as well as the inside of the earbuds yet. But the real one, you have real in-ear sensors on the back as well as on the front of the earbuds. However, it's also very hard to distinguish that as well. But one way you can test that is to simply take out the earbuds like this, and if you, let's say, cover this side up, and if the music continues to play, you know that this one only have a back sensor and do not have a right sensor. And you can do the same thing. You can simply cover the front sensor, and if it pauses, that means it only have a front sensor and not a back sensor. So that is the thing about the clone. Even super copies nowadays, they only have one sensor on one side and not on both sides like the original one. Next is the tone sound that you hear when you put the earbuds into your ear. So a lot of time the clones here, when you put the earbuds in your ear, you may hear like power on, connected, or a beep, or some type of ring, or some type of sound, right? Whereas on the official AirPods, there's this very unique tone that you hear when you put it in your ear. It sounds similar to like a Windows boot up, you know, Microsoft boot up sound. So if you hear like any kind of voice at all, so if you hear any Chinese woman voice or man voice, then you know right away it is a fake AirPods. So real AirPods do not have any woman voice, man voice, or anybody voice at all whatsoever. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is the way you change the AirPods name under the Bluetooth setting. So the real official AirPods, you can change it to any name you want by simply going to the Bluetooth menu, hitting the little eye icon on the right, and then change the AirPods name. With the fake clones, however, not all can do that. Now, some of the newer one nowadays, a lot of the newer one, especially the super copies one, they can change name just like the real one. So that's one thing you have to be really cautious about. But if you don't see the name change in the Bluetooth setting, then right away you know that it is fake. Next is Find My AirPods. Real AirPods, you can actually load up the app on your iPhone, Find My AirPods app, and actually your real AirPods will show up on the map, so that way you know exactly where it is. On the clone and the fake, not all of them have it. Some of them have it nowadays, especially the super copies again, but not all of them have it. So if the AirPod don't show up in Find My AirPods, then right away you know it is a fake AirPods. And next is when you make a phone call. On the real AirPods, when you make a phone call with the AirPods 2, you will see a picture of the earbuds of the AirPods 2. And for the AirPods Pro, when you are making a phone call, you will see a picture pop up of the AirPods Pro. Now, not all AirPods clone have that feature. Some of the super copy ones actually has it, especially the AirPods 2 super copies. They are pretty much identical when it comes to features like that. But for the AirPods Pro, the super copy nowadays have not gotten to that stage yet. So when you make a phone call with the super copy of the AirPods Pro, even when you make a phone call, it shows a picture of the AirPods 2, not the AirPods Pro. So that's a very, very small details. So if you're testing out a AirPods Pro, making a phone call, and then you see a picture of the AirPods 2 pop up, you know right away it is a fake, because real AirPods Pro supposed to have a picture of the AirPods Pro show up, not AirPods 2. And next is the flawless individual uses of single earbuds. So for the real AirPods, you know, you can switch from using the left or right earbuds like flawlessly, and the fake ones is not always that flawless. It works good, like pretty good, especially the super copy ones, but it's never as good as the official one. So the official one, you can literally take out the left or the right, and then you can use it just like that. Or if you're using both and then you want to put one back, and then the other one will still continue to work. You don't even feel the disconnection or anything. But with the clone, even though it is really, really, really good nowadays, especially again with the super copies, but you will always hear a little like disconnected sound for like less than a second if they're really good, or sometimes for a whole second, then they continue to play again. It still works the same way, but it's just not as flawless as the original AirPods 2 and AirPods Pro. Next is the battery life, guys. I have not witnessed any AirPods clone that has battery life quite as good as the official AirPods 2 and the AirPods Pro. So a long way for you to see if a AirPods is real or fake is to test out the battery life, guys. If they're real, they should last from 4 to 5 hours. If they're fake, they are probably gonna die within an hour or 2 hours and a half or so. And if they die within 1 or 2 hours, you know right away they are actually fake AirPods and not real. Another thing is the microphone qualities. I have tested numerous of AirPods clone. Sometimes nowadays they are getting very, very good and very close to the original. However, they are still not there yet as the original. And the last thing we're going to talk about is wireless charging, guys. So both the AirPods 2 and the AirPods Pro, of course, supports wireless charging, and you can have them on top of any wireless charging, regardless if they're fast wireless charging pad or slow wireless charging pad, they will still work. Now, here's the thing with the fake AirPods cases. They only work with the slow wireless charging pads. If you put them on fast wireless charging pads, they will actually break and will no longer work. So that is another way you can test out if the AirPods is real or fake, by simply leaving it on top of a fast wireless charging pad. If it breaks, then it is a fake AirPods. If it still works, chances it might be a real AirPods, guys. But again, the easiest way to go ahead and go back to see if they're real or fake is to simply look at the whole of the LED light. If it has no screen, bam, they're fake. If it has screen, then you can consider moving on to check other features. But right away, guys, if there's no screen on the LED lighting right there, you know right away it is actually a fake. Now, one last thing I want to mention to you guys as a bonus, if you're like super detailed and pay attention to the little charging port right here, the real one, as you can see, the way Apple builds its product is really flawless and seamlessly integrated with each other. So if you look at the clone, you notice that the ports is not as seamlessly built. It's not fused together as if it is one port. Might be a little hard to tell on the video, but as you can see how flawlessly it is with the real AirPods and how different it is with the clone. Now, I will have to say clone are getting really good nowadays. But still, there's one thing I have found them not to be able to done yet, is that screen at the LED light hole. So right away, guys, that is the most important thing you need to check now. And then once you check that, if it have that, if you pass that first level, then you can go on to check all the other things that I've mentioned: box logo, weight, imprinting, writing, pop-up animation, rear in-ear sensor, the tone that you hear when you put in your ear, the name change, the Find My AirPods, the picture when you make a phone call, the flawless individual users of the single earbuds, the battery life, microphone quality, and then the wireless charging feature. So guys, I hope this video really helped you to identify a fake AirPods, knockoff, clone, fake, whatever that you may encounter in the future. Once again, this video is in no way promoting any fake products. I'm solely creating this video to help everyone to be able to identify fake AirPods. So guys, with all that being said, thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.